Daf Yomi Tractate Sanhedrin, page 48b, top of the page, the words Hasam Mishum Meraihu. Ihachi Hainu Diktani Allah, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, Bamed Devarim Amurim, Shelo Nigu Bamita, Ava Nigu Bamita Asurim. The Gemara rejects this proof. There, the parents threw the garments onto their son's buyer because of their bitterness over his death. But they did not really mean to designate the garments to be buried with him. The Gemara raises a difficulty. If so, how can one understand that which is taught with regard to this Braita? Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel said, in what case is this statement said? It is stated with regard to a case where the garments did not yet touch the buyer before they were saved. But if they already touched the buyer, they are forbidden. If no importance is ascribed to what is done out of bitterness, why should the garments that touch the buyer be forbidden? Targama ula v'mita anikberesimo demechal fi betachriche hames. Ula interpreted the Braita as referring to a case where the garments were thrown onto a buyer that was to be buried together with the son, and it is possible that those garments might be mistaken for shrouds of the deceased. The sages decreed that it is prohibited to derive benefit from such garments lest people mistakenly think that just as they are permitted, so too actual shrouds are permitted. There is no proof from here that mere designation is significant and that articles designated for the dead are permanently forbidden. Tashima kis she'asa'o li'aniach bo tefillin asur laniach bo ma'os. Haniach bo tefillin yaniach bo ma'os. Ema asahu v'aniach bo tefillin asur laniach bo ma'os. Kedar al-Chizd. The Gemara suggests coming here proof in support of Abai's opinion from Brighton. If one fashioned a pouch in which to put phylacteries, it is prohibited to put money in it. If he put phylacteries in it, but he did not designate it beforehand for that purpose, he may still put money in it. The ruling of the first clause indicates that designation is significant. The Gemara rejects this proof, say that the Braita should be understood as follows. If one fashioned a pouch for phylacteries and then put the phylacteries in it, it is prohibited to put money in it. This is in accordance with the ruling of Rav Chisda, that if one designated a cloth for the purpose of bundling phylacteries in it, and then he wrapped the phylacteries in it, he may no longer use the cloth to hold money. Tashima Amar Le'uman Asalitik Shel Sofer O Nartik Shel Tefillin Ad Shelo Nishtamesh Bahen Kodesh Mutar Nishtamesh Bahen Chol Nishtamesh Bahen Kodesh Asur Nishtamesh Bahen Chol. The Gemara suggests, coming here another Braita that supports the opinion of Rava. If one said to a craftsman, fashion me a case for a Torah scroll, aseli tik shel sefer, or fashion me a bag, a nartik, for phylacteries, for tefillin, as long as he has not yet used them for a sacred purpose, it is permitted for him to use them for a mundane purpose. But if he already used them for a sacred purpose, it is prohibited for him to use them for a mundane purpose. This indicates that mere designation is nothing until the item is actually used for the purpose for which it had been designated. Tanahi, Itanya, Tzifan Zahav, Ocean or Shabahema Tavea, Psoidus, Pesulos, or Behema Tahoira Kshiris, Afal Pi Shilo Ibran Nishman, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, Af Ol Behema Tahoa Pesulos, Ad Sheyavedu Shman. The Gemara explains the matter of whether or not mere designation is significant is a dispute between Tanaim. As is taught in Braita, if one took phylacteries and coated them with gold or patched them with the hide of a non-kosher animal, they are unfit. But if one patched them with the hide of a kosher animal, then they are fit. And this is so even though he did not prepare them, meaning the hides for the sake of their use in a mitzvah. Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says, even if he patched them with the hide of a kosher animal, they're unfit, and they remain unfit until he prepares them for their sake. Preparing the hide for the sake of the mitzvah is analogous to designating it for that purpose. The first Tana and Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, who disagree as to whether the hide must be prepared for the sake of the mitzvah, differ as to whether designation is significant. Amar le Ravina le Rava mi'ika duchta de Ramu be mes ve'argi begel lemes Amar le in kigon shachve de harpania. In connection with what was stated previously, the Amoraim disagree whether one is prohibited from deriving benefit from a garment woven for the sake of a dead person. Ravina said to Rava, is there really such a place where the deceased is first placed on a bier and only afterward do they begin to weave the garment for the deceased? Rava said to Ravina, yes, this is practiced on behalf of, for example, the dead of Harpania, where the people are so poor that they cannot prepare shrouds for themselves during their lifetimes. Let's see. Maybe we're going to do part 2. Yeah, I think we're going to do part 2 here. It's it's only 8 minutes. Wow. We have time. This feels very long, I guess. Maybe we can go further. Let's see here. Maramar. What's Maramar? Darash Maramar. Hilchas Hakavas de Bayev Rabbanan Amri. Hilchas Hakavas de Rava. Hilchas Hakavas de Rava. Maramar taught that the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Abaye, that mere designation is significant, and the rabbis say that the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rava, that mere designation is nothing. The Gemara concludes that the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rava, that mere designation is nothing. Tanarabanan harugi malchus nichseyen lemelech harugi bezdin nichseyen liyashin Rabbi Yehuda Omer af harugi malchus nichseyen liyashin Omer Rabbi Yehuda v'halok for nemar hine b'cherem davos asher yerad sham l'rishto. The sages taught in Braita with regard to those executed by a Jewish king for crimes that they committed against him, their property belongs to the king. As for those executed by the court for capital transgression, their property belongs to the heirs. Rabbi Yehuda says, even with regard to those executed by a Jewish king, their property belongs to the heirs. The rabbi said to Rabbi Yehuda, but isn't it already stated Arise, go down to meet Achav, king of Israel, who is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, where he has gone down there to inherit it. 1 Kings 21:18. The wording of the verse indicates that Ahab went down there by right, proving that the property of those executed by the king legally belongs to the king. Amar lahen ben achi aviv haya v'ra'u liyarshim haya v'halo harbe banim haya lo Amar lahen oso v'espanav harag shene'emar im lo estime navos estime banav reisi Rabbanan hahubanim haroin l'tzeis mimenu. Rabbi Yehuda said to them, Achav was Naboth's cousin, the son of his paternal uncle, and therefore he was fit to inherit from him. Accordingly, he took possession of the property in his capacity as an heir, not as a king. They said to him, but Naboth had many sons. Why then did they not inherit from him? Yehuda said to them, Achav executed Naboth, and also his sons, as it is stated, I have seen yesterday the blood of Naboth and the blood of his sons. 2 Kings 9:26, the Gemara asks, and how do the rabbis counter this claim? The Gemara answers, in their opinion, that the verse is referring to the sons who would have issued from him had Naboth not been executed. Ahab was held accountable for the blood of Naboth and for the blood of his unborn children. Bishlo Naman Damar Nichsei and the Melech Hainu Nichsiv Barech Navos Elohim Vamelech El Leman Damar Nichsei and Liarshim Ma Lamali Vamelech. The Gemara raises a difficulty. Perhaps, granted, according to the one who says that the majority of those executed by the king belong to the king, that the property of those executed by the king belongs to the king. That is the reason that is written that Jezebel arranged for witnesses to falsely testify that Naboth cursed God and the king. 1 Kings 21:13 says Naboth cursed the king. Ahab could execute him and seize the property, but according to the one who says that the property of those executed by the king belongs to the heirs, why do I need the testimony of Naboth that Naboth cursed the king? It would suffice that the witnesses to testify that he cursed God, in which case he would have been executed by the court, and Ahab would have been taken possession of the vineyard as his heir. Uletamech Elohim lamali ela lafoshi rischa hachanami lafoshi rischa. The Gemara answers, and according to your reasoning, that the witnesses testify that Naboth cursed the king, so that Ahab could execute him and seize his property. Why do I need the additional testimony that Naboth cursed God? Rather, you must say that the witnesses were instructed to testify that Naboth cursed God and the king in order to increase the anger of the judges by accusing him of a second offense. So too it can be argued that according to Rabbi Yehuda's reasoning, the witnesses testified that Naboth also cursed the king in order to increase the anger of the judges. No proof can be brought from here that the property of those executed by the king belongs to the king. Bishlomo Leman de Omar Nichsei Lemelech Hay Nichsei V'Yanas Yoav El Oel Hashem V'Yechazik V'Karnos Mizbeach V'Ksiv V'Yomer Lo Eitzei Kipo Amus Ela Leman de Omar Nichsei Le'Arshin My Nafka Le Mina Nafka Lemina My Nafka Mina My Nafka Lemina L'Chaye Sha'al. The Gemara raises another difficulty. Granted, according to the one who says that the property of those executed by the king belongs to the king. That is the reason that it is written. And Jacob fled to the tent of the Lord and caught hold of the horns of the altar. 1 Kings 2:28. Describing Joab's actions after it became known that he supported Adonijah. And furthermore, it is written, and he said, I will not leave, for here I will die. 1 Kings 2:30. Joab did not want to be put to death by the king because he did not want his property to pass into the king's possession, but according to the one who says that the property of those executed by the king belongs to the heirs, what difference did taking refuge in the sanctuary make to him? The Gemara answers, Joab fled to the sanctuary in order to live a short while longer. Consequently, there is no proof from here to either side of the dispute. Vayashav b'nehu, Vayashav b'nehu. Pasuk says, Vayashav b'nehu. Benayahu, I'm sorry. Ishbina melech dvar. More ko diber Yoav ko anani. Vayashav b'neyahu melech dvar lemor ko diber Yoav ko anani. Amar lezil emele tarti lo tevel b'hai gavra iketalta le kabel letei abuch ilashu kedilakem latuse de latei abuch v'yomer lo hamelach aseh ka'asher diber u'paga bo u'kevarto. The Gemara continues to discuss the incident involving Joab. After Joab took refuge in the sanctuary, King Solomon sent Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, to fall upon him. Benaiah ordered Joab to leave the sanctuary, whereupon Joab refused. The verse then states, and Benaiah brought the king word back, saying, so said Joab, and so he answered me. 1 Kings 2:30. The Gemara explains, Joab said to him, go and say to Solomon, you cannot perform two actions to this man, meaning to me. Joab, if you kill me, meaning, you and your descendants will receive the curses with which your father cursed me. And if you do not wish to receive those curses, let him go, so that he may receive the curses with which your father cursed him. And the next verse states, and the king said to him, do as he has said, and fall upon him and bury him. Solomon thereby accepted his father's curses upon himself and his descendants. Amar Rav Yehuda Marav, Kol Kalalot Shekil David es Yoav, Niskaimu Bezaru Shel David. Al Yikares Mibes Yoav, Zav Metzoira, Umachzik Bapelech Venofel Vecherav V'chasar Lechem. Rav Yehuda says, Rav says, all the curses which David cursed Joab were ultimately fulfilled in David's descendants, due to the curse that Solomon accepted upon himself. David cursed Joab, let the house of Joab never lack such as are afflicted with a discharge or a leper, or that hold on to a staff, or fall by the sword, or lack bread. 2 Samuel 3:29. Okay, Zav me Rechavam, Tichsiv, V'amelch Rechavam, Yitameis la'alos, v'merkav ad ladus Yerushalayim. Ksiv, v'chol merkav asher yirkav alav, hazav yitzma. The Gemara clarifies the curse of being afflicted with a discharge. Hazav was fulfilled among Solomon's descendants in Rehoboam, as it is written, and King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot, Merkavat, to flee to Jerusalem. 1 Kings 12:18, and it is written, and whatever saddle he that has a discharge rides upon shall be unclean. Leviticus 15:9. The similarity between the words Merkavah and Merkav indicates that Rehoboam was a Zav. Ba Merkav and Merkava. Ba Merkav. Merkava. Ba Merkav. בצוירה מעוזיהו דכסיב ובחזקה גבה ליבו עד להשחיס וימעל בהשם אלוהיו ויבוא אל היכל השם להקטיר על מזבח הקטורת וכסיב הצרה זרחה ממצחו. The curse of a leper was fulfilled among Solomon's descendants in Uzziah, as it is written, but when he was strong his heart was lifted up to his destruction, for he transgressed against the Lord his God, and went into the temple of the Lord to burn incense upon the altar of incense. 2 Chronicles 26:16. And it is also written that leprosy broke out on his forehead. 2 Chronicles 26:19. And the curse of those who hold on to a staff was fulfilled among Solomon's descendants in Asa. Me'asa d'chsiv רק לעשות לעת זקנו חלה אצל רגליו אמר יהודה ורב שאחז פודגרה אמר למרזוטרה ברד רב נחמן לרב נחמן היחידמי אמר כמחת בבשר החי מנייתה איבית אימה מחש הווי חייש ב יבייתמה מרבה אהבה גמיר לביבייתמה so Hashem Yirav Britol Yodiam. The curse of those, the curse of hold on to a staff was fulfilled among Solomon's descendants in Asa, as is written concerning him. But in the time of his old age, he was diseased in his feet. 1 Kings 15:23. And Rabbi Yehuda says, the Rav says, this means that he was seized with gout. Marzutra, son of Nachman, said to Nachman, what are the circumstances and symptoms of this disease? Nachman said to him, the pain is similar to the pain of a needle piercing live flesh. The Gemara asks, how did Nachman know what gout is like? The Gemara answers, if you wish, say, he himself suffered from the disease. And if you wish, say, he learned it as a tradition from his teacher. If you wish, say, that he knew this through divine inspiration. As the verse says, the secret of the Lord is with them that fear him, and he will show to them his covenant. Psalms 25:14. Nofel b'cherev miYoshiyahu d'chtiv, vayaru hamoirim lemelech Yoshiyahu. Rav Yehuda Rav she'asu kol gufo kichvara. The curse of those who fall by the sword was fulfilled among Solomon's descendants of Josiah, as it is written, and the archers shot at King Josiah. 2 Chronicles 35:23. And Rav says, they shot him with so many arrows that they turned his whole body into a sieve. וחסר לחם מיכוניה, תכתיב, וארוחותו ארוחות תמיד ניתנה לו. אמר רב יהודה ורב, היינו דם אישי. Okay, we're going to go on to the next page, but we'll finish off here. The curse of one who lacked bread was fulfilled among Solomon's descendants in Jeconiah, as is written concerning him. As for his food allowance, there was a continual food allowance given to him by the king, a daily portion for every day, for all the days of his life. 2 Kings 25:30. Yehuda says, the Rav says, this explains the adjective people say, to be continued on Daf 49.